Hello, it's Monday the 19th. I'm FX Plu, and this is the market brief on Mask Off Monday, no less. It's seen by some as somewhat farcical to mark the end of COVID with all the restrictions anyway, when the third wave infections are close to a 6-month high. But despite rising infections and hospitalisations, the low fatality numbers suggest that the NHS is unlikely to be overwhelmed again. And so the central argument of if not now, then when, seems to have carried the day. But masks off doesn't exactly mean back to normal now, does it? Don't forget we've got all the travel restrictions still and the need to self-isolate if you get pinged by the Test and Trace app. And that was underlined over the weekend when Sajid Javid tested positive. Both Boris and Sunak will be in isolation this morning after a pretty sharp U-turn when their initial plans for a new pilot of daily tests was accused of double standards. Nice try, lads, but the rules should apply to everyone, even on Downing Street. Meanwhile, the recovery is still cooking on gas and the Bank of England is under pressure as inflation climbs towards the 2.5% mark. Most central banks are in reactive mode. They're happy to wait and see what happens. But the main question from the market remains, what will make them react? In the market, sterling is drifting along between 138 and 139 against the dollar. We saw a high of 117.60 against the euro last week, but we kick off this morning around 116.50. Over in the US, the Fed also remains in wait and see mode. Employment is a little patchy. Weekly jobless data met forecasts last week, but the previous week was adjusted higher. And inflation appears anything but controlled at the moment, but Powell maintains that it will begin to subside naturally after a few months. Fed members are beginning to break ranks there though, and we've heard suggestions that tapering could and should start immediately, or at the very least before year end. Powell remains concerned that the pandemic is not over yet though, and with cases rising in the UK and Europe, there's no real reason to believe the US will escape a third wave. So for the time being, he is very comfortable to wait and see. The ECB meeting this week could be interesting after Christine Lagarde announced that there'll be a major policy change. Let's hope that doesn't disappoint. The ECB has had a problem with credibility over the years, and the market wants to see some substance to that claim. Ahead of that though, euro dollar kicks off the new week around the 118 mark. Right, that's it from me this morning. Enjoy the newfound freedom without the mask if you so wish, and do join me again tomorrow.
If you do not have a clue, then just tweet through and ask FX Blue.